there's a political upheaval taking place right now in our country. People are fed up with the plutocratic, autocratic, theocratic, kleptocratic regime of King George W. and Buckshot Cheney and the rest of them. But you know, it's not just about them. It's about the corporate powers that have found their voice through the Bushites and their voice through too many Democrats, I've got to say as well. And now they have taken too much from us, and people are in rebellion against that. And that's why Susan DeMarco and I wrote this book, Swim Against the Current. Even a dead fish can go with the flow. And what it's about really is the plucky spirit of the American people. The mutts and mavericks and rebels who really made this country. And the powers that be try to tell us, well, we're a conservative nation, we're going along with the corporate ethos and saluting the powers that be. Well, all Washington was hockey. That's not America. It is the mutts that made this country. Otherwise, we'd be wearing white powdered wigs singing God Hail the Queen here tonight, you know. I mean, it's ordinary people who dare to stand up in our country, to buck the system, to try to live their progressive values, to defining their own vision of success, not measured merely by money, but by larger values of fairness and justice and opportunity for all. Oscar Wilde said, "Be yourself, everyone else is already taken." And so we've got to live that reality, live that spirit. I find that people in this country are yearning for change, but not just yearning for it, they are fighting for it. They know that America has lost its way, that our leaders have led us down some wrong rabbit trail off of America's true path toward egalitarianism. They see it in the form of some of these hedge fund operators and equity fund operators on Wall Street. One of them, Henry Kravis, maybe you saw it just a couple of weeks ago. It's in the news that Henry Kravis, who is an equity fund operator. Now, what the hell does that mean? That means that he borrows people's money to take over other people's corporations, and then in order to pay the debt to the rich people from whom he borrowed the money, he then sells off chunks of the company that he just bought, and then fires thousands of workers and downsizes the wages and the benefits of those who remain, and then pockets the money. How much money? Henry Kravis made $51,400 in 2006. Not a year, of course, and not for a month's worth of work, or a week, and not for a day. That's what he made an hour, $51,400. At the same time, he's downsizing America. Some of these guys getting so rich they can afford to air condition hell, and I tell you what, they better be setting some money aside for that project. We're in church tonight, we can talk like that. In that, my friend Molly Ivins, we dedicated the book to Molly. She's a personal friend of ours, and she told a story some years back of a state senator who got elected and came to Austin, and sure enough, first thing he encounters is a lobbyist. The lobbyist says, "I need your vote tomorrow on my bill. Here's $200. The senator says, "Oh, it's going to be all right." Puts it in his pocket. Goes away. Next day comes the vote. He votes against the lobbyist bill. So the lobbyist grabs him outside the chamber and says, "What the hell are you doing?" And he said, "Well, the other side offered me $400. And the lobbyist then explodes all over him, saying, "Well, you know, what about integrity? What about ethics?" And the lobbyist straightened himself up with all the dignity he had and said, "Well, you knew I was weak when I took the $200. But the problem is not the occasional bribee or the bribor. The problem is that the system itself, of course, is a giant bribe. And that's what we have to change. And some say, "Oh, well, you can't change it." There's no use in trying to reform, because the lobbyists and the special interests have punched loopholes into any reform. But y'all created a reform right here in Maine. You were the pioneers of public financing of the elections. 83% of your Senate, 84% of your House now elected without taking a dime of corporate money to get elected. That has spurred a revolution across the country. Now, Arizona, that left-wing state out there in the desert, Arizona has followed your lead. Connecticut will have its first election cycle this year on public financing. Produced by the people, by the way, in all of these cases. None of this came from the powers that be. In fact, they fought it with everything they had. Rather, it came from the grassroots, organizing themselves through groups like Common Cause, and Public Campaign, and Clean Elections, spread the message. And that's also the virtue of Common Cause. It's a mechanism for spreading the message. But it's not enough just to put out information. Not enough just to, you know, we progressives we got a lot of facts. And we tend to want to dump them all on any given issue. And we have a surfeit of sincerity, and that's all good. But we also need to laugh. We also need to paint a picture and have that big vision of what America can be. And I've got a friend out in Oakland, California, who was kind of chastising us progressives for not painting that big picture. And he pointed out that Martin Luther King Jr. Did not say, "I have a position paper." He said, "I have a dream," and we've got to paint that dream. And again, that's the importance. That's what Common Cause does, and good organizations like that. It says, this is the America it could be. It could be ours, and it truly could be our land, as Woody Guthrie put it. Well, I'll leave you with this thought. My old Aunt Eula was a farmer up in northeast Texas, a tenant farmer, she and her husband Ernest. And when I was but a boy, around 1950, I was on their farm and something big had happened, and it was that the Rural Electrification Administration, part of the New Deal, had brought electricity into that isolated part of the country. And what that meant in practical terms was that they could put an electric motor in the creek and move water into the house for the first time ever. And that was a great blessing. But one day I was there and they were having a problem with the water. It was coming out of the faucet all murky. And the men were standing around looking at the water, scratching their butts and saying, "I don't know, what do you think of this?" And my Aunt Eula turned to me, I was but a boy, I didn't know what she was saying. She said, "Gentlemen, the water won't ever clear up till we get the hogs out of the creek." Now right there's our problem.